Hi everybody. This is the screencast about some advanced tips for Microsoft Word. So let me start by showing you. I'm going to start by explaining the concept of a template. So essentially, every time you open a Word document, the new document is attached to something called a template. The template is what contains the document styles and also any kind of like keyboard shortcuts that you've built in are attached to the template as well. So because most casual users don't understand templates or know how to mess with them, um, Microsoft kind of buries the location of the templates in a folder that's sort of hard to find. But I'll just show you quickly where it's located on Word for Mac anyway. When I show you, this is Finder, and you can see where it's located down here, but basically it's in the home folder, and then library, then group containers, and then this long number letter combo UBF8T346G9.office, user content, templates, and then whatever the template is. So the basic template is called normal. That's the one that's automatically attached to a document when you first open Word. So if you want to get to this, a good way to do it would be to, like, if you have a Mac, to do Command space to open Spotlight search, and then just quickly type in templates, and it should hopefully take you to the right. One of the options should be this templates folder. Okay. All right, so I've deleted my normal template so that I can get a clean start. So it should look the same as your Word setup does. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set up that template, the Word template, so that so that you can get the styles the way you want. Okay, so let me share my Word screen. Okay, so we now have a blank document, and I'm just going to type something like welcome to the Advanced Legal Writing Microsoft Word screencast. Okay, and as you can see, the default font in the normal template is Calibri 12. And as you know from our class, Calibri is not an acceptable font, especially for legal writing, in part because it's sans serif, and in part because it's just not that good. All right, so I'm going to zoom in. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there's a zoom tool. You can zoom in to make this more easily visible. And there's also down here, you may not have seen on the bottom right-hand corner, something called focus mode. I'll just show you what that looks like. But essentially, it creates a distraction-free writing environment. That's pretty cool. And there's also something called outline view, where you can see your whole document in the form of an outline. And finally, there's something called draft view, where you see it kind of like plain with no, I think that you don't see the page delimitations. So they all have their own value, but generally you're going to work in the print layout view, which is the default view. Okay, so I mentioned that attached to every document is a set of styles. And if I click, what I just did is I clicked the style pane right here. So like these are the styles up here, okay? And on the ribbon. This is called the ribbon, by the way. And what I want to do is click Styles pane to open in the right-hand side of my screen a list of the styles in the document. And you can see here, down here, there's different lists you can choose. There's a list of recommended styles, styles currently in use. Currently, we have only the normal font in use, which is the default font. Styles in the current document, and then all styles. Okay, so what we need to do is fix some of these styles so that they reflect, acceptable typography practices. So let me just go back to the recommended style list. And the first thing we have here is we have to deal with this basic normal font. So what I'm going to do is click the drop-down menu next to normal. And by the way, if you hover over it, you can see the characteristics of the style. Currently, normal is the default font, plus the body font of Calibri, left aligned with single spacing. And what I'm going to do is click the drop-down arrow and then click Modify Style. And what I'm going to do is change the font from Calibri to Palatino Linotype, which is my favorite font that is included in the default, or that in most systems. Okay, so I clicked Palatino Linotype 12. That's, if I look at the paragraph, I'm going to leave everything else the same. I'm just going to change the font and make sure the font size is 12. Then I'm going to click this box that says Add to Template. So that way it's going to save this change to the normal template. And what that does is that every time I start a new blank document, the blank document's normal style will be in Palatino Linotype. So that's going to be my default font. Okay, so I've clicked Add to Template and click OK. And you can see that doing that changed the appearance of the normal font to Palatino Linotype. Okay, now let's pretend that this is a body paragraph now. So what I'm doing here is I just copied it. What I did here is I just I'm hitting Command A, right, to select all. Command C to copy it, and then Command V to paste it several times just to invent a fake paragraph. Now let's say this is a body paragraph. So as you know, single spacing is not acceptable typography. So what should we do? Should we change the normal font to make the paragraph 1.2 spaced? I think a better way to do it is to create a body paragraph style. So I'm going to go down to List, go to All Styles, make sure see if there is a body paragraph font already. I see body text and body text 2. But I don't see body as an option. What are these? Body text. I'm gonna ignore those, and I'm just gonna create a new style. So what I'm gonna do right now is just kind of highlight some of my text here, and then go over to the right-hand side, the Styles pane, and click New Style. And I'm gonna call it Body, and it's a paragraph style. It can be paragraph, character, or linked. I think we want paragraph. Because that will allow it to be either bold or italics. Okay, you can change the style for following paragraph to be, actually leave that alone, leave it blank. And I'm going to click Add to Template. And then I'm going to go down to click this drop-down menu in the bottom left and click Paragraph. And let's see here. What I want to do is go down to the spacing style. And I'm going to change the default line spacing to multiple and then 1.2. That will make it 1.2 times spaced. Then, because I'm typically prefer to use block indents rather than first line indents, I'm going to add space after the paragraph by default. Do I want to do that? I think I do want to do that. So I'm going to do space. So I go over to the spacing option and enter 12. And essentially that's going to mean that when I hit enter to create a new paragraph, it's going to separate the two paragraphs by a blank line. Let's see what else I see here. I think that's it. Let's see here. If I go to paragraph, make sure I have everything. That was paragraph I already saw. Let's go to font. That's all. Just making sure there's not anything else I want to change. I do want to change the kerning because I'm interested in typography. I want to make sure that it's doing correct kerning. So I went to the font option and I'm changing the option for kerning for fonts. And I'm going to make it 8 points and above. Hitting OK. And then I'm hitting OK again. Okay, so now we have a new style that appears in the right-hand style page called body. So let's highlight all this and change it from normal to body. And you can see how it changes, okay? When I hit enter and do it again, we have a new paragraph. Okay, so now we have a system where you have 1.2 times space with one blank line between each paragraph. If you wanted more space between the paragraphs, I don't know if that would make sense or not, but let's just see what would happen. So if you go to body, modify style, paragraph, and you could change after from spacing after from 0 to 18. Let's see how that looks. So it's a little bit more space between the paragraphs. Maybe we prefer that. One thing I forgot to do, if I go back to modify the body paragraph style, is I didn't click add to template, and I need to do that so that future blank documents that I open will have the style available. Okay. All right, so that's a good start. Let's see what else we can do here. Let's go to the layout page, the layout tab of the ribbon, and click change the margins. The current margins are 1 inch on each side. I'm going to change it to custom, and so that it's 1 inch on each side, but 1.5 on the bottom. I think that's a good default. Let's look at page numbers. You can click to do page numbers. We can, let's see, click down into the footer, basically. And you'll see that this changes the ribbon setting or the ribbon option to header and footer, and then the page number option comes up. So I'm going to click page and insert page number, center aligned, and it's clicked show number on first page by default. You can adjust the formatting. I don't think there's any need for that. And then hit OK, and you see this appear down here. So because I've changed the normal style to Palatino linotype, my page numbers are already correct. They're already in Palatino linotype format. Suppose I want to make them, I usually prefer my page numbers to be size 11 rather than 12. So what I can do down here is hit Command A to select all the page numbers, and then change this font size to 11. Yeah, or you can also change the page number style. Maybe that's the better way to do it. Modify style, and just change the formatting. Just all you have to do is add 11 in this box here for the font size. Okay, and hit add to template, and then that's the better way to do it. Okay, so now our page numbers are always going to be in the normal style, which is Palatino linotype, except that they're going to be size 11. All right, now let's suppose we want to add a top level point heading. So let's think. Let's just suppose this is our top level point. We want this to be a point heading, level 1 point heading. So there are point heading styles built into the normal template. The problem is that they're terrible. So you need to modify them. So if I look at the style list on the right-hand side, you can see that there is a heading 1, and that's going to be your top level point heading. If I click it, you see what it does. That's what it thinks is a good first level point heading. Then you know that that's actually terrible. So how do you fix it? Well, you can modify the style, change the formatting to make it the correct font, which is Palatino linotype for me. Change the size to be 12. I like my point headings, my top level point headings to be bold. I'm going to hit add to template, let's go to paragraph. We do want it left align with no indentation. I do want it to be hanging so that they, the different, you know, if it's more than one line, they are all aligned, you know, a little bit away from the edge. I'm going to change hanging to the hanging indents to 0.25, I think. Let's make space before 12, and let's make space after 18. Let's make them both 18. Change the line spacing to multiple 1.2. Okay, and I think that's good. Go to line and line breaks, and you want to make sure that you have keep with next checked and keep lines together checked. And what keep lines together does is it means that you won't have line 1 of the heading on one page and line 2 of the heading on the next page. Keep with next means that you won't have the heading, the bottom line of the heading on one page and then the text under the heading on the next page. So it keeps it together. You don't want the bottom of your page to have a heading with no text beneath it. All right, press OK. OK again. And I see it did this. Okay, so we're not there yet. So for one thing, the text is blue. So let's go back to modify style. Click add to template again. Go to font. So on the bottom left-hand corner, click that, and it'll bring up the font option. I want font color. You know, it has font and then advanced. So under font, we want it to be black. And anything else we need here? I think that's good. Oops. Okay, so I'm pressing OK. And then we need to adjust the numbering because we want it to be, you know, Roman numerals. So I'm going down to this drop-down menu in the bottom left again. Scroll down until it says formatting, or I mean, sorry, numbering. And then we want outline numbered. And this one here, third from the left on the bottom row, is our correct outline format, I believe. So I'm clicking that. You can click customize to change it up a little bit. You know, but we're talking about level 1 outlines here. And you can see here, it's not going to set up, if you look on the right-hand side, it's not going to set up hanging indents by default. And I'm not sure if I need to change it right there or not, but we'll see. Okay, so anyway, now we have Roman numeral 1. And let's click OK and see how that looks. All right, so this is how it looks so far. I prefer there to be a 1/4 inch rather than a 1/2 inch of space here between these. So what's the best way to do that? Okay, so an easy way to do that is to grab the bottom, click the, you know, you can mess around with things with this ruler up here. So I'm clicking the bottom arrow and dragging it over to 0.25, which is 2 ticks on the ruler. And then you can see that my text is a 1/4 inch away from the 1 rather than a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go over to heading 1, over here on the styles pane, click the drop-down menu, and then click update to match selection. So that way future heading 1s will be the same way. Now let's suppose this is a multiple line heading because we have to get our hanging indents right. So I'm selecting these all. Oh, it's already set up. I did do the hanging indents correctly. So something I've already done made it happen correctly, so that you see here you have the 1/4 inch indent on both the top line and the other lines. Okay, so that's heading 1. So let's suppose that we're going to do a subheading down here. Okay, so I'm going to use this text as my subheading. And when I click heading 2, you can see the terrible default heading 2 style. So let's modify that. And you can change the style to being based on heading 1. Or you can modify it default by, manually like we've been doing. Let's see if we change it, see what happens if I change it to heading 1. I don't want to do that. Let me modify it manually. So I'll go to clicking the drop-down menu, modifying it manually. Font, Palatino linotype, size 12. Add to template. I want the style for the following paragraph to be body because I want it to have body text underneath it, and I should fix that for the heading 1 level 2 as well. And I'm going to click font in the bottom left-hand drop-down menu to change the font color to black. Everything else is okay. I'm going to go to paragraph, the bottom left-hand menu, make sure keep with next and keep lines together are checked, which they are. I think that a 1/2 inch indent is fine before a second level heading. And spacing above and below, let's make it 18 above, 18 below. We might need to change that. Change the spacing, line spacing to 1.2. And then make it hanging indent and hanging by 1/4 inch. And then hit OK. All right. Now, do we want it to be bold? It's up to you. I'm not sure, but let's make it bold for fun. So I'm going to click heading 2, modify style, and then just click the bold button, and that way you see it turn to bold. Yeah, I don't know if you normally make heading 2 bold or not. I have to look at some examples, but let's just assume we're going to do it. Okay, so that's heading style 2. You can see that my hanging indents are done correctly. Let's mess with heading style 3. So I'm going to take some more language. Let's make this heading style 3. So here's the default. Again, not acceptable. So go to the right, style panel, modify style. Palatino linotype 12. And we want the font color to be black. Add to template. Paragraph, hanging indent by 0.25. 18 points of space before and after. And line spacing multiple 1.2. And we have keep with next and keep lines together checked. Press OK. And there you have pretty decent heading level 3. Is it getting too indented? If you click the bottom, this little bottom square at the bottom of your ruler guides, you can drag the whole thing around. So let's just drag it back 1/4 inch. I think that's a little bit better. Let's see what happens if I drag heading level 2 back 1/4 inch as well. Yeah, so it's kind of up to you how much of an how far in do you want your indents to go. But you can, I think I like having them a little smaller like this. There's some room for maneuvering here. Press Control-Z to undo that. And you can compare them. I think it's fine as is. I don't think I need to reduce the indent. All right. And then eventually you probably want to change heading level 4, which I'll leave as an exercise for you. Okay. I'm going to save this real quick by hitting Command S. And I'm going to change this title to Word Screencast. document.docx. By the way, if you want to save this as a template so that you have it available for to attach to future documents, change the file format to Word Word template, which is .x. Okay, but you want docx for your average documents, obviously. Okay, so now we've saved this. Let's suppose that I need to do I want to do a section sign followed by a let's just add section, which is option 6 on a Mac, space, and we'll say 1983. Okay, it doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't matter. Okay, welcome to the section 1983 Advanced Legal Writing Screencast. So you see here how the section sign is hanging out by itself on the far right margin. That's because we've used an ordinary space and not a non-breaking space. So to make a non-breaking space, I want to be able to do it quickly with a keyboard shortcut. Keyboard shortcuts are part of the template. So what I need to do is go to Insert and Advanced Symbol, which is at the bottom of that menu. And you go over to Special Characters, see if it's listed, and you see non-breaking space. Okay, so the default, it looks like keyboard shortcut for non-breaking spaces is Control plus Shift plus Space. I'm going to change that. I'm going to add a new one. So I click keyboard shortcut, and I want Command Shift Space because that's what I'm used to. And click Assigned. And let's see, maybe I can do just Command Space as well. No, that's Spotlight, so I can't do that. Okay, so Command Shift Space is going to be my non-breaking space. And you can see here how it says save changes in normal.m. And what that means is it's going to save it in the normal template so that in future documents that I open using the normal template, which is the default, the keyboard shortcut will be available. Okay, so I'm hitting OK. And while we're here, let's make a keyboard shortcut for section symbol. Even though on a Mac you can do it with option 6. I like Command Shift S is default save as, but I don't use save as very often, so I'll change it to the section sign. And that's good enough. Okay, so Command Shift S is going to be a section sign now. Press OK. And we want the paragraph sign or Pilcrow. Let's make a keyboard shortcut for that, and we'll make it Command Shift P, which is by default assigned to File New, which is not very commonly used. So Command Shift P will be my new keyboard shortcut for the paragraph sign. N dash. You can make the N dash on a Mac with Option hyphen, but let's also add a keyboard shortcut for Command Shift N. Okay. Hit assign. And then M dash, let's change the keyboard shortcut for that. We'll add it to Command Shift M. Okay, and also I'll just also do Command. No, Command. Let's keep it at Command Shift M. Okay. All right. If you ever need to insert a symbol, this is where you can do it as well. Okay, so we're going to close this. So now I'm going to highlight this space after my section symbol and turn it into a non-breaking space. I'm going to do so by using the new keyboard shortcut that I just made. It's going to be Command Shift Space. And ta-da, you can see how now it's a non-breaking space, therefore there will be no line breaks there. Okay? Okay, I need to take a short break, and I will resume shortly. Okay, let's continue with the screencast. So I'm going to go back to my Microsoft Word. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is footnotes. So there was one more thing I wanted to talk about too. Let's let's do footnotes. So let's just assume I want to add a footnote here. And I'm going to use the same text here down in the footnote. Okay, and so here's the default situation. The default footnote style you can see is footnote text. And it is the default font of Palatino Linotype, size 10. So I'm just going to click Modify Style, turn it into size 11, click Add to Template. And the next thing I want to try to do is fix the indents, but let's see if I can do that with the ruler. So just add to template, size 11, and that didn't change. That didn't change things, so let me try something else, which is to highlight it, size 11, manually. That didn't work either. Okay, maybe it just didn't work. So size 11, add to template. Okay. Okay, that worked. So it worked this time. All right. Now you can see here it's not hanging indent. It's also not a lot of space here between the footnote reference number and the first line. So let's see if I can fix this with the ruler. So so one way to fix it is to drag the bottom arrow of the ruler from the 0-inch mark to the 0.25-inch mark, and that's going to make it hanging indent. And then you would go over to, find your footnote style in this list. It's very annoying, but these are not in alphabetical order. And you would hit Update to Match Selection. So let's just do that. And yeah, then you can do this basically for each of your footnotes. You can essentially highlight the space between the footnote and the first line and then hit Tab. And then you're going to have great looking footnotes that have 1/4-inch hanging indents. I want to try to see if I can find a better way to do this though. So let me modify that footnote text style and click Add to Template, go to Paragraph and Indents and Spacing. And currently we have hanging by 1/4-inch because we moved that bottom arrow on the ruler and then updated the style. But let's see if I can also do maybe add a tab stop at 0.25. See if that helps. That didn't do it. How do you do this? What's the better way to do this? Paragraph. Let's do first line by 0.25. Let's see if that works. It does not work. Okay, so in short, I don't know how to do that. So what I have to do, unfortunately, is manually tab each one, like highlight it and hit tab. I will see if I can find look around online to find a better way to do that, but essentially that's an annoying, tricky thing to do in Word. Okay, but now let's just try to make this footnote again and see how it looks if we make a second one on the same page. By the way, I'm hitting Option Command F as a keyboard shortcut for creating footnotes. So hit Tab, paste, and there we go. So I've got good looking footnotes now, but the only annoyance is that I have to hit Tab after each footnote reference. I see here in the style guides the footnote reference. We'll leave it alone. I don't see any problem with, I think this is the correct font for the footnote references, but if you have a situation like I've seen on some students' work where the footnote reference is in Calibri, then you may need to modify the footnote reference style to use the correct font. But if you've changed the normal font to Palatino Linotype, I think that you shouldn't have this issue, as I don't have it here. Okay, let's look at creating a keyboard shortcut for a command such as insert footnote. So what I want to do is go to File, Properties, no, not Properties, sorry, Word, Preferences, and you can see the different options here. Let's look at some of these. So there's various things you should look at here to change to make your life easier. But for right now, for keyboard shortcuts, click Ribbon and Toolbar. And you can basically you can get rid of commands you don't use. You can add commands that you didn't know existed. So basically, you can customize the ribbon. And let me see if I don't see keyboard shortcuts here, so maybe they've moved them. So I'll search for keyboard shortcuts. Where is it? That's strange. Maybe they've moved it. So you can look for commands up by clicking Help and then typing something in. Customize keyboard. They have moved it. So let's get out of Word Preferences. Type in keyboard in the Help menu, and then you can see Customize Keyboard pop up. And they have moved it to a more logical location. So you can go to the Insert menu, and you can see all these different commands for inserting things. So insert footnote. Let's create a new keyboard shortcut for that. We'll do Command-Shift-F. That's currently assigned to font. I don't think we need a keyboard shortcut for font, so we'll do it for keyboard. We'll change it to insert footnote. Okay, Command-Shift-F will now insert a footnote. Let's see if there's anything else. How about we make one for mark citation, which we're going to have to do in a minute when we set up table of authorities. So for mark citation, I'm going to do Command-Shift-A, which is currently assigned to all caps, which is not something I would use very often. So I'm going to override it and turn it to Command-Shift-A will now mean mark citation. Yeah, let's keep it Command-Shift-A. All right. Anything else? Any other keyboard shortcuts I want to make? If you just go through the different, commands, you can see if there's any of them that you use a lot that you might want to create a keyboard shortcut for, like apply heading 1. You can do command, like it's currently Command Option 1, and that will change something to a first level point heading. So if I do Command-Shift-1, maybe you like that better. I can assign that. Applying heading 2, Command-Shift-2. Apply heading 3, Command-Shift. Command-Shift-3 is actually take a screenshot, so we don't want that on a Mac anyway. In fact, I wonder if yeah, okay, I think that's fine. I'm a little afraid of overriding system keyboard shortcuts, but I don't think it's going to do that. You can, if you use track changes a lot, you can, make keyboard shortcuts to go back and forth among the different, revisions that you're considering, like something for accept, something for reject for certain changes. So, play around with this. If you want to get really advanced, you can, create macros, which are sort of automated workflows. Like you could create a macro to add a tab at the beginning of every footnote, do that automatically. We're not going to get into that because it's kind of difficult. But once you create a macro, you can create a keyboard shortcut for that too. So that's some really advanced word wizardry. I do want to create a keyboard shortcut for paste unformatted text, which I use all the time. So paste text only. Let's see. I'm going to do Command-Shift-V. I use that all the time. Okay, so Command-Shift-V will now paste text only. Very useful. And the reason you want to paste text only normally is that you don't want to import new styles or formats into the document. So when you copy something from Westlaw, you should paste it as plain text, and then you can manually change, you know, the case name to italics if it's a case. But try to paste it as text only so that you're not importing unknown styles. All right, saving the changes, getting out of there. So that's footnotes. Let's see. Just to practice one more time with hanging indents, let's say we want to make a bulleted list, and we'll see if it's indented by default. So let me go right here to, you know, click the bulleted list option. And okay, so this is a bullet. I've got a bullet, and let's see. Okay, it's automatically hanging by default, so I don't need to worry about that. If you do a bulleted list like this and you don't like the space between the bullets, you know, you can create yourself a bulleted list. You create yourself basically a bulleted list style, and the way you would do that would be to kind of put your cursor here, click New Style. Let's just do this, bulleted list, and add a template. Go to Paragraph. And currently it's 18 points of space afterwards. Maybe you just want it to be 12 points of space. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this, turn it, click the style, click to apply the style for bulleted list, and you can see how that space shrinks. So that was before, and that's after. Okay, let's see here. If you ever you want to get rid of all your styles, you can hit clear formatting, and that'll bring it back to the normal style. Let's see. So talked about hanging indents, footnote styles, page numbers. All right, let's do table of contents. This is one I don't use quite as often, so hopefully I don't mess something up, but let's, first of all, if you want to do table of contents, you go to Insert. I don't see it on the list, so I'll go to the Help, and I'll type in table of contents. Why do they hide things? Index and tables. Aha, index and tables. And then you can make an index, or you can make a table of contents right here. And it appears, thankfully, they've made an automatic system here based on our heading styles. So let's see. You have show page numbers. It gives you the option of using hyperlinks instead of page numbers. I'm going to delete that because this is for printing. You can modify the styles. I can see just looking at them. Well, this is going to seem a little abstract till we create it. So let's just see what it looks like when we hit OK and we create this thing. All right, so you see here the way that these are the headings. These are basically, it imported our headings, and it tried to create the table of contents styles based on our heading styles. You can see that there's some problems. They're not hanging indents would be one problem. And yeah, that's the main problem. Let's see what we can do to change these a little bit. So first of all, if I go up here and look at the ruler, I see a tab stop I don't need there, so you can take it and drag it off. No, you do want that. Never mind. But why is it there? doesn't need to be where it was. Okay, what that's doing right there, I think apparently is making a 1/4 inch between the heading number and the start of the text. But just if you look over in your styles pane, you can see that this is a certain style called TOC1, which is the table of contents first level heading. So I want to fix the hanging indent thing. So I'm going to drag the ruler over to 0.5. This is the bottom. I'm dragging the bottom arrow over to 0.5, and you can see that fixes the table of contents style to make it have a hanging indent, and now I have to update the style. So I will go over to the style panel, find TOC1 in this list, and then click update to match selection. All right, for table of contents 2, let's say we want to move it right here. Let's say we want to indent it by 0.25, and then we want a 0.25 inches between the heading A and the text of the heading. Then we want to drag the bottom arrow over to create a hanging indent so that the text aligns. And now I need to update, go to the styles pane, update TOC2 to match selection. For this one, for the third level heading, we'll move everything. You know, you can move the whole ruler over by clicking the bottom square beneath the arrows, and that moves all the things over at once. So I'll move that to 1 inches. Move this so it's 0.25 inches away between the number and the heading text, and then click down to the second line of the heading, click the bottom arrow on the ruler, drag it over so that we get hanging indents for that. Is this a completely beautiful table of contents style? No. Is it serviceable? Maybe for now. But let's just see what else we can do here. I would rather this not go all the way to the margins like it does here. So let me just, first of all, I never updated TOC3. Let me update that to match selection. And let's just go to TOC1 and click Modify Style and see if we can force the text to end before the right margin. So I'm going to click Add to Template, click Paragraph, and you can make it right indented by, let's say, 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, right indented by 1/2 inch. Let's see how that works. Okay, let's try it with TOC2, Modify Style, Add to Template, Paragraph, right indented by 1/2 inch. Okay, you see how that moved that line off of the margin? Okay. And then we'll do the same thing with TOC3 and Modify Style, Add to Template, Paragraph, Indentation, and we'll do the right indentation so it's 1/2 inch from the right margin. And the result of that is that you don't have text going all the way over. All right, so that's how you make a table of contents. And these are linked. You've probably figured this out. These are linked to your heading styles. So let's see. So if I want to make a second heading, like after doing this 2 subheadings, I'm going to paste down here. I'm just pasting heading 1, the first heading down here with Command V to paste. And now I should have 2 top level headings. To get the table of contents to refresh, I'm going to right click it and click Update Field. Click Update Entire Table. And ta-da, now I have the now I have all of my headings there. So basically, this is one reason to use styles, is that if you're using the right heading styles, they're going to automatically be reflected in your table of contents. Okay, let's make a table of authorities. Been a while since I did this, so bear with me if I can't figure it out immediately. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go to back up to the insert menu at the top, insert, index, and tables, and table of authorities is on the right-hand side. And we'll do from template. It does Pane automatically. Pane means that you cite the same source repeated like many times throughout the document. And you can click the mark citation button to just go through all at once and mark your citations. So let's say I wanted to go to, like, suppose 1983 was a statute. I can highlight it, click category statutes, and then mark it. Okay, and now let's hit next citation. That's it. And it'll hit cancel. Now let's see what happens here when I create a table of authorities. So I'm going to hit again insert, index and tables, table of authorities from template. And it finds no fields for the table of authorities. That's because I think we needed to create the table of authorities before marking the citation. Let's see. I'm going to highlight. Let's say I'm going to say, let's just do a, was it 42 USC section 1983 is a, that's the civil rights statute that you use to sue government officials who violate your constitutional rights. It's the procedural mechanism for asserting constitutional claims. So let's say I'm going to cite this in the document. I'm going to do Command-Shift-A because we made that mark citation. Oh, that's wrong. I thought we made it mark citation. Let me just check the keyboard again. Customize keyboard. Mark citation. I have Command-Shift-A, and then I have Command-Option-Shift-I. Maybe Command-Shift-A is being overruled by the system, so let me make another one. How about Command-Shift-I? It's currently italics. We don't need that for italics because you can do Command-I for italics. So we'll do Command-Shift-I for mark citation. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to highlight again, 42 USC 1983, do Command-Shift-I, and now we get mark citation dialog come up. It's a statute, and I'm going to click mark. And the short form of the citation, the long form of the citation here is going to be 42 USC 1983. Short form of the citation will be section 1983 or section 1983. So now every time in the document that I have section 1983 or section sign 1983, it should note that this is a use of this particular statute. So I'm going to hit close. What you have here is a field code, which basically shows you, it shows you essentially what you just did. Like the fact that you added information about this text to mark it as a citation. You can hide field codes, but I'll show you what it means really quickly. It means table of authorities \L for long form. 42 USC 1983 is the long form. \S for short form. 42 USC 1983 is also treating it as a short form for some reason. C2 means category 2, which is statutes. And then it also associates this other short form, 1983, and it also associates the short form, section 1983. So let's just try to move down here and type in, let's say that in this footnote, we want to type in like section 1983, highlight that, Command-Shift-I to mark citation, and mark it. Okay, and let's just see what happens when we now try to create the table of authorities. You know what? Let's do one more. I've just showed you how to do it with a statute. Let's do it with a case. So right here, I'm going to write Smith v. Jones, 42 Cal App 3rd, 520, 2019. Made up case, obviously. Highlight this. Okay, don't highlight the period at the end, just highlight the exact citation. Command-Shift-I to mark citation. Remember, that's what we just set up as the keyboard shortcut. Go to the category, change it to cases. And this is the long citation. Let's see. Okay, so we have here selected text is the whole thing. Category cases, short citation is going to be Smith. And mark it. Let's see if this works. Close. All right, now we have two authorities marked. So let's go back up to our space here. By the way, all these little things that you see here, if you click the Pilcrow sign, these are formatting marks basically. Like the Pilcrow sign means that there's a paragraph break here. You can see dots means ordinary space. If we look at the section 1983 text, you see a circle, which means a non-breaking space. And you can do that as a way to check your formatting. And when you want to get rid of it, just click that button. That also exposes fields, right? So you can hide your field codes by clicking that button as well. Okay, anyway, back to creating a table of authorities. Go to Insert, Index and Tables, Table of Authorities from Template. Okay. Aha, we got it. Okay, cases are listed first, followed by statutes. This is not acceptable formatting for the headings of the tables of authorities. So what do? You fix the style. So over here, the current style is TOA heading. I'm going to modify it. Change it to Palatino linotype for the font, size 12. Add the template. And go to paragraph. Let's do, for now, we'll do 12 points of space below, before and after. I don't think line spacing matters because these are only going to be one line. And let's do alignment center. Alignment centered. All right, and there you go. Now you have one for your cases, one for your statutes. Let's do one more case just to show you this one more time. Create another footnote here and hit tab. And then I'm going to make up another case, which is Bob v. Sally, 240 F 3rd, 1974, 9th Circuit, 2009, period. Highlight it without the period. Command-Shift-I to mark citation. and it's set as cases. And for the short form citation, we'll do Bob. Mark, close. Okay, and again, you can verify that that's worked out correctly by looking at the field code. It's table of authorities \L for the long form, and you see the full site, and then \S for the short form is Bob. \C for category is 1, which is for cases. Go back up to your table of authorities, right-click, and click Update Field, and you see it now. It appears. Okay. Now let's suppose that you cite. You want to do another cite of Bob v. Sally on the next page. Okay. So I created a footnote with Command-Shift-F, which is what we made up. Do a tab, and let's make a short form. Command-B to paste that. Make a short form. Bob 240 F3rd at 1976. Let's just see if it picks that up automatically. I don't think it did. So what we need to do is mark it. So go back down to it. And we will just highlight it again before the period. Command-Shift-I to mark citation. And we'll add that as a short form. Let's see. No, we're going to click. Let's just highlight Bob. Highlight Bob. Command-Shift-I for mark citation. And then you see it here under the short citation list. And then the long citation, you can see it's associated with is Bob v. Sally. This is not exactly an intuitive thing to use on Word. I don't think, because only lawyers use it, so they have not bothered to make it very self-explanatory, but this is how it's done. So hit mark to mark the citation. Now let's go back up, right-click this, and click and update the field. Now we see that Bob appears on page 2 and 3. And if you keep using Bob over and over across the brief, eventually it's going to stop telling you what pages it's on, and it's going to say Pane. Okay, that's how that's done. Now I'm going to show you one last thing, which is how to include a picture with a caption in case you have some reason to do that. So, okay, so okay, I need to pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to insert a picture. Let's go to Insert Pictures. Let's go to Online Images, Online Pictures. And this is a cool new feature in Word and PowerPoint that lets you search for online pictures right from your browser. So let's just say law. We'll pick Scrabble Rec. Insert it. There it is. You can click it, the whole thing, and shrink it like this. I would delete this thing about rights personally. And there you go. You can click it, you can shrink it, enlarge it, whatever. And but I want to show you, suppose you want to wrap text around it. Go to Picture Format. Move the zoom thing out of the way. First of all, let me close this. We don't need this anymore. We don't need styles right now. So go to Picture Format up on the ribbon. Click Wrap Text, and tight is good, square is good. Square is usually the one I use most. And there you go. You see how it wraps around it? And you can do things like, you know, add margins around it to create more space around it, between it and the surrounding text, but I think it's fine. Now let's suppose you want to add a caption. How do you do that? So if you right click the picture and click Insert Caption, I would change the label to Fig instead of Figure, personally, just a preference. And you can type in your caption here, essentially. Let's change it. Like, this is a Scrabble rack. You can format the numbers. I think it's fine as is, but you can change them if you want to. And click OK, and you see how it says Figure 1, this is a Scrabble rack. I'd center it. You can change the font, things like that, but that's how you insert a picture and have a caption. And if you insert another picture with another caption and click the label so it says Fig, it's going to be Figure 2. Okay. Other quick pointers we've got here. You have a sort function, so that if you have a list of things you need to sort it, you can sort it from A to Z. You've got the formatting brush. So suppose that you want to, you know, you want to make this text down here second level heading. You can click one second level heading right here, click the format brush, and then highlight the text that you want to make a second level heading. And, oh, that didn't work. That just took the bold, the fact that it's bold. It didn't carry over the style for some reason. But that's okay. So I guess what it does is essentially if whatever formatting is of the text that you have selected at first before you click the brush will be transferred to the new text. So it's taking the bold, the fact that this is bold, and it's transferring it to this text. Okay, that's how the formatting brush works. You've got your various outline lists here. If you want to make a sort of creative type of outline, you can define a new multi-level list. That's a little complicated, but you might do that if you're creating a certain contract structure. Let's see what else we have here. What other things should you know? You should know how to make a page break. I do page breaks by holding command and hitting enter. And then what it does is it starts the text following the page break on a new page. If you go into the draft mode, the draft viewing mode down here, and you make a page break, you can see it visually, okay? So we can hit backspace to get rid of that page break, get rid of that page break. You can do section breaks. Primary use of a section break would be to reset page numbers. If for some reason, you know, like if you have a book, the introduction might be in Roman numerals for page numbers, and then when you get to the body text, it might be regular, you know, page numbers. So you do that with a section break. Tables are really useful for formatting text that needs to, you know, so you can make some text left aligned, some text right aligned, things like that by separating it into columns. Text boxes are useful. Like, let me just show you an example of a text box. Let's say I want to add a text box right here. We're going to go to Insert, Text Box, Draw Text Box. You know, you can make like good looking outlines and stuff like that using this. So you can change the shape of your text box. You can do all sorts of things with it to make it kind of creative, or you can just use it as is and say, like, this is a text box. What's the purpose of a text box? Well, it's a box, and you can move it around. to different places on the screen. Okay. What else can we do here? We won't get into that. Talked about adjusting margins. Line numbers is useful for litigators. Typically, you would do restart each page, and you can, you know, these are commonly used, although these ones are a little strange because of the gaps here, but you know, these are commonly used for pleadings. I don't really like line numbers, so I generally don't use them. If we click references, we've seen all this stuff. You can mark index entries if you need to make an index, just like you did with tables of authorities. I always tell you to read your text aloud or have an app read it to you. If you click read aloud.
Welcome to the Advanced Legal Writing Microsoft Word Screencast. Welcome to the Advanced Legal Writing Microsoft Word Screencast. Welcome to the Advanced Legal Writing Microsoft Word Screencast. Welcome to the Advanced Legal Writing Microsoft Word Screencast.
You can change the...
I am currently making a screencast. I am currently making a screencast. I am currently making a screencast.
You can change the voice.
Test. Welcome to the Advanced Legal Writing Microsoft Word Screencast. Welcome to the Advanced Legal Writing Microsoft Word Screencast.
Okay. You can compare versions of documents. Like if a partner at a law firm tells you to do a red line, they're really telling you to use this compare documents function to compare the changes between two different versions. I mentioned focus mode. You know, you get used to the different zoom functions, like zoom to the page width, zoom to see an entire page, zoom to see several pages. You can split windows so that you can scroll down here in one window, scroll up in the other, so you can look at multiple parts of the document at once. And we won't get into macros. Let's see, you should know how to do, you know, finding and replacing, an advanced find and replace. So let's see, so if I do Command F for find, and then if you click the drop-down menu, you can click replace. And let's say I change the word. Obviously, you can change words. That's easy to do. Just type in one word here and replace it with another. But let's do something more interesting. And click this drop-down menu with the gear, and then click Advanced Find and Replace. And click this drop-down menu here. And this is a secret weapon. And in particular, you can use special characters. You can search for special characters, such as, let's say we want to replace find special characters. Let's say we want to find a section character and replace it with the word section. You could do that. You want to find, you could replace every hyphen with an end dash, although I don't recommend it because you want to make sure you're doing it correctly. You can find, let's see. Yeah, let's say we want to find a section symbol. So I just click special section symbol and a regular space. And I want to replace it with a section character and a non-breaking space. Okay, that fixes all those at once. Replace all, and it makes two replacements. Okay, do the same thing with the paragraph symbol if you're using paragraph references. Okay, let's close. So that's very useful. And another thing I'll mention is soft line breaks. Suppose that you know, I mentioned the concept of orphans before, where you have one word all alone on the next line. And suppose I don't want that because you're typographically anal like me. Put your cursor before the second to last word, hold Shift and press Enter to create a soft line break and that fixes that problem. Well, why not just hit enter? Well, because that creates a new paragraph, not a new line. And if you have the styles that we have here for body text has space after, so that means that when you hit enter, it creates a new paragraph and it creates the 18 points of white space, okay? So if you do a soft line break with shift plus enter, that fixes that problem and avoids creating the space between paragraphs. There's a dictation feature here. Let's see how well this dictation feature works, period. It works okay, okay? One thing it did do was it put a straight quotation mark where we actually want a typographer's apostrophe. So I'm going to highlight that and replace it with an apostrophe. What else can we do here? That's quite a bit we've covered. Let me just go through the menu, see if there's anything else you need to know. Explore all the preferences. Reveal formatting, again, shows you, if you click reveal formatting, it'll show you what style you're using in a particular area. Don't normally need to use that, but can be helpful. Just checking to see if there's anything else that I should tell you. Fields, we can talk about fields really quickly. You've seen fields when we're doing the table of authorities, but let's just look at a simple example too. Another just simple example of fields. Like let's say I want to do like today's date. I can type in today's date and then I'll put insert field, and then you have all these different options. And date and time is one of them. And you can put the date that it was created. You can put today's date, the date it was saved, and so on. And there's various other fields like that you can make. They're basically variables. So I'm going to use date and type it in. And, you know, I hate this date format. So let's actually change it. Let's delete that and try a different style. Insert field, date, and then you can click options, and you can change it to one of these other formats, like this one. This is MMMM for the month, spelled out, D for the day, and YYYY for the 4-digit year. All right, hit OK. Oh, why did it do that? Date, options, add to field. I didn't click add to field, that's why. Okay. And now that I've done that, we'll delete the first field. And now you have it in this format, okay? You highlight it and it turns shaded gray, and that tells you that you're dealing with a field. Let's see, any other things like that I can show you. That's probably pretty good. Okay, well, I hope you've learned a lot from this presentation. I hope that it'll make you more productive. I encourage you to create keyboard shortcuts for everything you see yourself doing. I guess there's one last thing I will tell you how to do, which is learn how to navigate text with your keyboard. So if you hold Command and, you know, on a Mac or Control on Windows and press the right arrow or left arrow, it'll take you to the end of the line. If you hold Control or Option, it's Option on a Mac, and press left or right arrows, it'll go word to word, okay? If you hold Command and Shift and go over, it'll highlight the whole line. If you hit Option and Shift and go over, it'll highlight one line at a time. So these are just some of the, you know, just quick little things that will speed up your workflow. Okay, that's all I have for you for today. So I hope you've enjoyed this and learned a lot from it.